No worries, a new episode of the O Wrestling Podcast is here. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to head on over to owrestling.com or head to our YouTube page at O Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast. Hit like on all the videos. I'd appreciate it. Comment. I'd love to hear what you got to say. And hit that bell so you know when new episodes go live. Today, we're talking about the World Heavyweight Championship and whether or not you think it's working out. So I was racking my brain for an episode topic today, so I hit up the wrestling sites, you know what they are, and saw an article about Jey Uso getting a World Heavyweight Championship shot on Raw next week as of this recording. I started thinking about Seth Rollins' time as World Heavyweight Champion, and it's been okay, it's been fine, but I haven't, for the life of me, thought that the World Heavyweight Championship was anything more than a consolation prize. And I don't know if that's the booking, I don't know if it's Seth Rollins, but at this particular moment, I find that the IC title is higher up on the card than the World Heavyweight Championship. Or, let me say, in my mind, it is a more prestigious title at the moment. That could be because the World Heavyweight Championship is new and there's a legacy to the IC title. Well, new in quotes. It could be because of Seth Rollins. It could be because of Gunther. I find Gunther's character and his wrestling style to be very interesting and very entertaining, and he puts on nothing but great matches. So I'm very high on Gunther and where he's headed. There's something about the constant defending of the World Heavyweight Championship that doesn't work for me. And it could be because there's no particular hierarchy. It seems very random. It seems like Seth calls his own shots about, I'm going to, defend my title against such and such. Or, I just wrestled Shinsuke and I beat him, and Sammy, if you want a title shot, you got it. And he's just making up the rules as he goes along. That doesn't make the belt feel important. It makes it feel like a novelty, right? It's just like, step right up. Don't be shy. Come test your might against Seth freaking Rollins and get a shot at the World Heavyweight title. It's the most carnival act title at the moment. Even Rhea Ripley is defending her title a little better, but that has its own problems given that they just don't build a lot of the women up to be a credible threat. With Seth Rollins defending the title against Jey Uso on Raw, and like Sami Zayn before him, I know that those two aren't going to win the title. Not because they're not deserving, but because it's on Raw. When's the last time a title was, swapped on Raw? I think it was the Universal title when, not Kevin Owens, when Finn Balor first won it. I'm obviously not correct. I'm not a wealth of historical wrestling knowledge, but I'm sure it was a long time ago. So because of that fact alone, you know that, Seth is going to retain. But then there's this other factor of CM Punk, and they're so clearly building towards CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins for that title, or at least just against each other. I would assume they're going to keep the title. They're going to put the title on the line to make it a bigger money match, and they'll move it to WrestleMania so that there's like this, huge build, and it gives these two something to work towards, and, long form storytelling, all that good stuff. But because of that, every title defense that Seth Rollins has from now until then feels moot. It's pointless. And I almost want Seth to not give out title defenses anymore, just so that he feels more like a final boss. Does that make sense to you guys? I feel like the champion should be a final boss. Roman Reigns has final boss energy. Brock Lesnar had final boss energy. Stone Cold Steve Austin, final boss energy. Seth Rollins doesn't have that. He has very much like mid-boss, might have two forms. I don't know. Like he doesn't feel like a champion that I could see defending for so long. Like Gunther has final boss energy. Have you guys felt that the IC title is more prestigious than this title? Because, and this is just my personal opinion, but Gunther's character of this powerhouse who believes that the ring is, a special place and being a professional wrestler is his job and he's not a sports entertainer. Him cutting promos about how the Ultimate Warrior was garbage, and that's all part of his gimmick to say, look, I am a legitimate professional wrestler. This is my job. This is my passion, and I'm going to prove that you have to be a professional wrestler to even get close to holding this title. And that's what makes him have such great matches. That's what makes his character so hateable, right? Like he's like a snob almost, but he's also loved. Like people love Gunther. And if he brought that energy to the World Heavyweight title, that, in my opinion, would make the title feel more prestigious. Seth Rollins has almost the complete opposite character, more of a persona where he is the ultimate sports entertainer, the antithesis of Gunther's professional wrestler gimmick. He's very flamboyant. He wears crazy gear, that maniacal, weird Joker laugh, and he's constantly, laughing in people's face and being very animated, right? But in that, I don't understand the motivation of Seth Rollins, because he keeps putting himself in situations where, in storyline, in kayfabe, he shouldn't be just handing out titles. He's like, his back was hurt and whatever. But a lot of these storylines don't mesh into anything long term, right? I thought the back thing with Shinsuke Nakamura was going to lead to Shinsuke either winning or Seth having this sort of underdog thing where he had to keep overcoming this back problem to keep winning, and people kept, jumping in to say, oh, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to take advantage of that. And it's just gone away. And now it's just back to Seth saying, here, you can have a title shot and you can have a title shot, which in my personal opinion doesn't make the title more important. It kind of just dulls it, right? It becomes a prop. And this is all, professional wrestling is a big show. They're all props. All the titles are props, but it's the story and the matches and kind of the motivation of the wrestler that gives the title meaning. I don't know what the answer to this is. I don't know how to make it better. I don't write for WWE. I don't write for professional wrestling, whatever. But I do feel like Seth Rollins needs more final boss energy. Even Shawn Michaels, who I feel he mirrors quite a bit, had final boss energy at times. He was the best in the world. He's one of the best of all time. Seth doesn't have that aura, even though he keeps winning, which is great. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to build this title up to, like, look at all the defenses he's had, and I'm all about that. The longer you have it and the more defenses you have, the more prestigious your reign is versus, winning and losing a bunch of times. But the difference between Seth and Roman is Roman's defenses are huge. They're built up. You climb this mountain to Roman and he kicks you down the mountain. And then he laughs at you as you roll down, and then the next person comes up and tries, right? Seth just kind of does it on a weekly basis, and it makes it feel less important to me. Let me know in the comments what you think of the World Heavyweight title, Seth Rollins, Gunther, everybody. Let me know. I want to hear it. Thank you once again for listening. Please subscribe, hit like, tell a wrestling friend, tell 2 wrestling friends. I'd really appreciate it. I'll catch you next week, and don't you ever forget.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.